Hey y'all, Francis here, and today we are continuing on with our I bought too much stuff off of Temu and now I need to figure out what to do with all of this stuff series. This is part 2 of crafting with a paper pack. This was a 200-piece set of scrapbook paper slash washi stickers. There's some ephemera in it, just like, little paper tags and stuff like that. And we're figuring out what to do with it. So in today's video, I think what we're going to do are some belly bands. So I've pulled some materials for that. For a list of kind of all of the general materials that I have for videos in this series, go back to part 1. I've got all of that listed in there. And one thing I failed to mention in my last video, like I said, I don't think I actually said it in my last video. I bought this set of papers off of Amazon, and then later on I bought another one off of Temu because I guess I didn't realize that I had already purchased it, but it worked out in my favor in this case. If you look on Amazon, they run from anywhere from about $4 to $10, $12. There's a whole different range of prices. Temu, from what I found, it looks like they're running $4, $5-ish. It depends upon what store you get them from, of course, and when you buy them, because their sales don't seem to be as good as when I first started buying from them. They're just different, so I don't know. I'm not sponsored in any way. I used my own money to buy this stuff. I would link these items in my description box. However, Amazon's not paying me and Temu's not paying me. So unless they want to start paying me to link to their stuff, I'm sorry. If you go on Amazon or Temu, you can search like 200-piece paper pack or 200-piece scrapbook, and these will start to pop up. They're a little bit easier to find on Amazon only because, I don't know, you can use English words, and I think that they maybe are linked a little bit better than on Temu. Some of the things that they say that they call these things are not words that I know them as. So I think there may be a little bit of maybe a language barrier. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Eventually it will come up on Temu. You may have to scroll a little bit. I don't know if everyone's Temu looks the same when you search, or if Temu has just looked into my soul and knows what I want to see. That I can't tell you. But in either case, they may even have them listed on other sites. I'm just not aware. But those are the two places that I have found and purchased them from. So just in case you want to go along with me on this, that's where I found these. This particular one on Amazon right now I saw was, I think, $9.99. But if you want, a different pack from many different sellers, I saw one for $3.99 that has, it's kind of like an astronomy pack. It has like planets and all kinds of cool things in it. So, I would definitely look at a couple different options if you're looking to buy. Anywho, on with this video. Today we are going to do some belly bands, and I haven't ever used a belly band, so I don't know how many of these I'm going to need, so I didn't make a whole lot of them. One thing I think that I would change already, not having used one, is that I did back these, but they're still pretty thin, and I feel like if it's in a journal, it may not be thick enough to hold something in place. I'm not sure, so I may have to go back and back these again with something else. I'm not sure. If somebody else has any idea, please tell me. I would love to know. I guess I'll figure it out eventually on my own, but I guess I just have never really heard anybody specifically say if it needs to be a stiffer sheet or what. And also, I made these into tickets, so that also kind of weakened it a little bit. So that's something else to take into consideration. But it looks really cool with the ticket thing going on, so I'm gonna continue on with that. Moving on from all of that, In today's video, I'm going to use a couple of different things than what I showed supply-wise in my previous video. I'm going to use a newspaper because I'm going to change this one up just a little bit. And then I've got another sheet here to back with. I have a hole punch. This one is 1 inch. I've got a needle to make our little holes with for our tickets. And I've got this for measuring and also a ruler for measuring because I measure on a completely different universe than everybody else. And then just probably I would use my inking for the edges and some glue. I will use glue stick for this because it's been working well for me. This one, oops, is a permanent glue stick as opposed to washable. I like it. It works well. So far I haven't had any issues. There may be like one thing that's peeling up a little bit, but that's just because it was too small of an area, I think, for the glue stick to handle, and I didn't hold it long enough. Anywho, let's get moving. Okay, so starting out here, I think that where on this one I didn't have anything on the edges, I want to use this newspaper article because I like how the margins fit with this, and it will also be added a little bit of interest to have that paper in there, so, or that writing in there. So what I'm going to do is trim this flush, and I will be right back. Quick side note, as I was cutting this, I happened to glance to right beside the article I was looking at, and it says 1-800-SABOTAGE, and that feels very relevant to me right now. That will definitely be going in my glue book. So I've got my strip here, and this is a double thickness. I went ahead and added just another sheet of newspaper to it since it's older. I refuse to call it old because it was a newspaper from 1990, and that is not old, so I'm not going to call it old. I was just going to say older. Then what we're going to do from here is measure in my kind of convoluted way. I'm going off the measurements for this particular piece of paper. It's the same as just a gift card is. And the reason that I'm even bringing a gift card into this is because this is so thin that if I try to use this to measure onto this piece of paper, it's just going to write all over it, and I don't want that to happen. So the gift card is the same width that I'm looking for, so that's what I'm going to use. And we have to trim this down because, well, we have to trim it down in a certain way because I don't want to cut the wings for the butterfly off. I kind of like how they stick out here. So I want to keep that, but I need to make sure that the wings are even on both sides so my brain doesn't explode. So that looks good to me, and I just moved it. Maybe I can stop moving it here in just a sec. Okay. Uh-oh, I moved it again. Okay, I need to flip this around. I can't see. My phone's in my way. Okay, that looks pretty good. That is a thick pencil. Okay, let's try this one. That one is also pretty thick. Okay, so this is what we are working with here, and that should be pretty good-ish. So what I'm going to do is cut along these lines, and I'm going to fussy cut around the edges of the wings, and I will be right back. Okay, I've got that trimmed out, and I went ahead and inked the edges so that when we put it down on our little article here, our little column, that it kind of pops a little bit. I also went ahead and inked this bottom piece that I'm adding to it. I'm not going to ink the two edges where they meet, just so that they kind of help blend together a little bit better. But I did ink the bottom and the top of that. So what I'm gonna do is, I think I maybe want a little bit of writing at the top and the bottom, which actually works out perfectly. I did not plan that, but it works great. So what I'm gonna do, get this guy out of here. Let's get this glued. This guy glued. Uh-oh, I'm almost out of glue stick here. And as I'm sitting here, I guess that's pretty thick. It probably just feels flimsy because it's still wet from the glue. Yeah, we're gonna give this just a minute to dry and I'll be right back. Okay, this is pretty dry. I went ahead and trimmed off the very bottom of that little strip at the bottom, just so that it wasn't longer than the top part. I think next what we need to do is add on our other two butterflies to continue this kind of like downsizing trend here. Where's my stick pin thingy? I think I want a little bit of overlap there to kind of help hide that seam. Are we even? That's pretty good. No, it's not. Look at that. Oh, don't look at that. Don't look at that. I am also not going to look at that. This newsprint is smudging a little bit. You would think for something being the age that it is, it wouldn't do that, but it sure does. So, and then this guy, how about right there? That's pretty good. Okay, we've got those on there, and then what we need to do is decide how big we want our tickets to be. These are just about 8 centimeters, or What? 8 inches. Good gravy. Was that correct? Almost 8 inches. And then if we go over to this side, it's about 20 millimeters. So let's see how close this one is. Not millimeters, centimeters. Good Lord. Now you see why I measure with gift cards, not an actual ruler. Let's see. That one is about 21. It's probably easier. Yeah, that's about 8 1/4 inches. So where'd my pencil go? I think I want to do every 2 and a bit. Sorry, my AC started going again. I know it makes some of you guys crazy. I have a noise thing too, so I get it, but it's really hot, so I can't turn it off. So we're gonna go like 2 1/8. Let's see how that works out. Yeah, that's pretty close. I mean, there's a little bit extra, but whatever. And we need to go like this. I'm over too far. Well, that was a disaster. What did my article say? Call 1-800-SABOTAGE? Yeah, that's the theme of this video. Let's see, I got, okay, that's about right. That's about right. That's about right. Close enough. Close enough for government work. Then we just want to fold. Take our gift card. We don't want to do it too hard, but we do want a bit of a crease there. Okay. Where's our next one? Right here. Another reason that I inked the edges there is to help hide the pencil marks, and that's going to happen again here. So I don't have to worry about erasing it. And then right here is our last ticket. It's not quite as dry as I would like, so hopefully this doesn't mess things up, but you know, whatever, just roll with it. Then we are going to take our little needle. I need my glue book over here, please. And I'm going to take my gift card as just kind of a way to help me keep in line. And we are going to poke. While I was waiting for this to dry, I started watching Melina Pilot do her scoops. I don't know why I find that so enjoyable, but I do, and they haven't been popping up in my feed lately. But this one did. I don't know if she's been doing them the whole time or if this, you know, was just since the last one that I watched, but I'm super excited to see that. Okay. I'm gonna go down and continue the next one here.
Shows super entertaining doors from poke holes.
And now what I'm going to do is go back and actually make these holes a little bit bigger. I think the needle that I used on my other one was just like a sewing needle. I have an emergency sewing kit in my desk, and I think that's the needle that I used, and this one's quite a bit bigger.
Okay, so you get the idea. I'm going to do these next 2 rows and then I will be right back.
Okay, so we've got our holes. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, those are pretty obvious on camera now. I did go through and make each of them a little bit bigger. Hopefully they're not too big. Big enough to cut the paper anyways. I'm just going to go through and ink. I need more ink, please. To kind of make these pop a little bit more. There we go. And then I think the last step on this is to actually make our little divots on the tickets. And another reason that I kind of wanted to add a little bit on to this was because it kind of cut into the butterfly wings, but I may be seeing that again. I just used a normal size paper punch on this because that's what I had while I was emergency crafting outside of my home. But I don't want to go to my pack and get it, so I'm going to use this one. It's a little bit bigger, but it'll be okay. Just trying to line it up so that, I guess maybe there's a little like middle notch on there, but I don't want to go all the way up there. So we're just going to eyeball it. Okay, then we will ink those up. Well, those wings still got clipped, but that's all right. And this one we're going to call done. And I think that I like the new one a little bit better than the old one. Looks a little more substantial with that piece in the back, and it feels more substantial because we've doubled up on the newsprint behind it. Love it. And then if we do this one, more chaos crafting, sorry. We do this one. I'm doing it quite a bit. Well, a little bit different. I'm using different pieces because this was just kind of, what do I have left over to use? Okay, I'm going to use it type deal. So I'm going to be a little more intentional with the pieces that I use on this one. So let me get that together and I'll be right back. Okay, so for our next belly band, we are going to do a sheet of this kind of florally paper. I'm going to do a book page and this little piece here. And we're going to go florally paper, book page, this little guy, book page, and florally paper. So that's how we're going to change that one up. You can do this in any size that you want. You could do it the entire length of this, whatever you feel like. Because I'm doing this piece, it is 2 1/4 inches. So that's how I'm going to kind of measure these two things. But if you use a different piece other than that, you may want it to match that. You may want to have kind of a surround like this one. You know, do whatever your heart tells you to do. This is just what I'm doing. So we need to first, this is just going to be a backing piece. We need to first measure these two pieces. I don't want a border, so I'm going to trim that off. Okay, and oop, that was very crooked. Okay. And then I think I'm going to mark it. I'm also going to trim this edge here because I don't want that white space. That I think I also did crooked. Man, today is just not my day. Okay. Now let's see how close we can get this to a correct measurement. I could just do it on here, but I don't want to. So let's go 2 1/4. I did say 2 1/4, right? That feels big. Is this correct? Okay, that is right. I'm gonna mark there. And then we're gonna go 2 1/4 from the bottom. And we're gonna mark there. And then we're gonna go 2 1/4 here. And 2 1/4 here. I really hate measuring. I am not good at it. Let's see how close we got. And I don't know if I'm crooked or if this thing is off. Let's see. Let's see. That is perfection. I'm calling that perfection. For me, that's perfection. Okay, let's see if we can do it again. I may have got cocky too fast. Okay, let's see. pretty close. We're also going to call that perfection. Okay, now how tall do we want these? I would like, let's see, on this one, they are about 3.5 centimeters. 3.5. We're going to say 3.5 centimeters. You could say, Frances, you were just measuring in inches. Why not continue to measure in inches? And the answer to that is I don't want to. Whichever is more accurate with what I'm doing is what I go with. That's probably not the right answer, but that's the answer that I'm giving. I don't really, excuse me, I don't really need this piece on the bottom here. I'm just going to trim that with the scissors. Okay. And then we are going to, what did I say, 3.5? I really need to write this down. Yeah, 3.5. To right about here. And then we're gonna go, I also do not want this top part here. And I do not want, I am going to use the trimmer for this one. There's not a straight edge to follow. Okay. We're gonna measure three and a half centimeters here. And then another 3.5 centimeters here. And then we need 2 of these. Okay. Let's see how much I've messed this up. That's pretty close. Where's my other mark? There it is. Okay. Beautiful. Mark number 1 there. And mark number 2 is right about there. And then this one we need right about there. Oops, we're a little off on that one. We're a lot off on that one. Okay, this is why I don't measure, because when I get it wrong, I usually get it very wrong. Okay, that guy is done. Now, going to back it onto this. So we want to go here. Oops. I kind of like that says hubbub. There. 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 we're gonna go that side. I did something with a book page the other day, and the words were very not appropriate to have, and I already had them down, so I couldn't do anything about it. So now I try to be a little more mindful about the words that are popping up. I think maybe I want a tiny border. Do we want a tiny border? We want a tiny border. Okay, we're gonna do a tiny border. This glue stick is done. Okay, let's try this one. Just make sure we get this right side up. Okay. We want to leave a small gap in between the tickets, but not too much. Just a fraction. Can you tell? Can you see what I'm doing? Just a small little gap there. Basically just big enough for the holes. And then that one's going to go there. Making sure that we're right side up. Okay. Now I'm going to let this dry for just a minute, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we are dry, and I went ahead and trimmed the edges. As you can see, I got that one over a little bit too far, but I think I'm going to be okay with it. I'm not freaking out about it, so I'm just going to say everything is good. Now what we're going to do with this one, oh, I could have used this for my stick pin. Look at that. Ugh. Anyways, I'm going to go through and I'm going to make holes along my gaps there. And then we're going to fold and ink, and I will be right back after that. Okay, we are hole punched, can you see, and inked. And on this one, I think I'm going to go ahead and use my 1-inch punch here. I hate these. Goodbye. They get in my way. I suppose there's a reason for them. Maybe so your stuff doesn't go flying, but I need to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, and now we are going to ink. And I think that's gonna call it. I think that in terms of how solid they are, they're about the same because it was a similar type of paper. However, I like that little bit of a border, and you can't even really tell that this is kind of missing a little bit on the edge here just because the inking hides a lot, which I love. Let's see, this one is gonna be about 7¼ inches. Again, I don't feel like the size is super important because you may not be using the same materials as I am, and your journal may be a different size. I don't even have a journal for this to go in yet, so I don't know which size. You know, maybe I will end up needing to add a little bit extra on to the end, maybe a little bit of fabric to extend it so it reaches the length of the page. You know, it may need to be played with a little bit, but I think this is a really good base, and I'm halfway tempted to add some stuff to it, but I don't know where this is going to land. So until then, I'm going to wait to add too much to kind of embellish it. So let me get this cleaned up a little bit. Scooch that. Here was the original, and then here is our remake, and then on this one, here is our original, and there is our remake. If you want to, you can please politely let me know if you prefer one over the other. I would be curious to know, but just be nice because I do have feelings too, and sometimes people can be really mean. Mostly everybody is amazing, and this community is just the best anybody could ever ask for. But occasionally I get a comment and it's like, ouch, that hurts. I'm a person too, and you clicked on my face. So if you don't like me, you don't have to watch me. I hope that you stick around, but like if you don't like me, it's okay. You don't have to watch me. Just be nice, because I cry easily. So that being said, the next one will be coming up shortly here. I think it should be ready to go. So hopefully week by week I'll be posting again. Again, if you have anything nice to say, please feel free to do so down below. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.